In a piece of very exciting news, a deal has just been inked between the CIAA and HBCU GO TV. And I'm going to read some of the details in a second, but essentially what's going on is CIAA football is going to get a lot more exposure than it has been getting in the past. Now, other conferences like the MEAC and the SWAC, they've been battling with ESPN and other network providers in terms of revenue. You know, those are bigger programs. They have huger fan bases. They have bigger brands, and so they want to be compensated. They don't just want exposure. The CIAA is in a different position. Our programs actually are in a position and a spot where we need the exposure. The ability to play and have our games broadcast with easy access is a game changer. It grows the name recognition and the program recognition of all of the teams in the CIAA. It should help with recruiting. It should help with overall competitiveness. It may even have an impact on alumni donations and alumni contributions and game day attendance. Like, if we're being 100% honest, right now in the CIAA, a lot of us could use a lot more attendance. A lot of us need a bigger spotlight on our programs. We need more fan participation in our programs. A lot of us probably need new athletic directors and new coaches, and we need a boost in recruiting. Having our programs on TV with all this access, it's going to increase, once again, recruiting, not just for the sports teams, but also for the bands. Because for those of you who are really diehard CIAA fans, you know that prior to the last couple of years, if you wanted to see us play, you either had to be at the game or you had to look for it on the CIAA network. And I'm going to be fair, you know. Prior to this year, the quality of product that many streams had on the CIAA network, it wasn't all that good. There would be a whole lot of buffering. The picture was grainy, couldn't really tell what was going on, couldn't really see the ball. It wasn't all that clear. It wasn't all that crisp. Sometimes there wasn't any commentating. It just wasn't that good of a product. Fast forward to this year, the CIAA network is much better than it was last year. The picture quality alone is way better. Different camera angles, they got replays, they got commentating. It is a solid product for Division II HBCU football. It is something that you can actually sit back and watch and enjoy. This is going to increase alumni and current students and family of alumni watching the games at home, which eventually will have an impact on game day attendance. Game day attendance is going to increase revenue. It's going to impact recruiting. So if we play our cards right, this deal could really help to elevate the conference higher up in the Division II ranks. You got to think about it. With the exposure that we currently have, we've still had Bowie State go on this run of making the playoffs multiple times, advancing in the playoffs multiple rounds, multiple times. We've had Virginia State making the playoffs multiple times, winning games, Same thing with Winston-Salem State in years past. So even with our current setup, we've already been able to make some noise in the Division II ranks. So now that we have this deal and we have all this more exposure, if we play our cards right, we're going to be on the rise. But let me give you guys some of the details of this deal. Let me go ahead and pull that up for you real quick. All right, let's get into this. So it says, last October, entrepreneur Byron Allen announced that he had agreed to acquire streaming service HBCU GO TV, a platform featuring 5,000 hours of programming related to historically black colleges and universities. In addition to other programming, the deal included sports broadcasting rights, including 44 football games. It has reached a licensing agreement with CBS's local television stations for the HBCU programming to be featured on local stations in 12 major markets: New York, LA, Philly, Dallas, Atlanta, San Francisco, Boston, Seattle, Tampa, Detroit, Miami, and Pittsburgh. Under the terms of the deal, HBCU GO will be available in 60% of households and 70% of African American households. This is a 10-year media rights partnership with the CIAA. For those of you who've been looking for HBCU sports, specifically Division II, you probably already noticed that there have been games on the GRIO network, and there have been games on the CW network on Saturdays. This is awesome, and this is a game changer because, like I said earlier, at the Division II level, we've just been hungry for access to games. And so the fact now that I have Hulu with live sports. If you have Hulu with live sports, you can find several CIAA games weekly. And the games that you're not going to see on the GRIO or on the CW network, you can go on to CIAAnetwork.com and see a very clear stream with good commentating, great picture quality, and replays. This is amazing for us at this point in time because, once again, we are just trying to raise the brand, the name recognition, the excitement. Right now, we have to do proof of concept. We have to, before we can even start talking about money, we first have to prove that there is an audience that wants the content. So we need people to regularly watch CIAA sporting events. We got to get the viewership numbers in. After we increase the increased viewership on television, we also have to increase people in the stands. If everybody does their part, the network does their part, the commissioner does their part, each individual institution does their part, the coaches, the athletic directors do their part, and the fans do their part, we can take the CIAA to a whole nother level. Let's get to it.